Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Oasis Focus and Finance Show. I'm your host, Shafiq Morton, and as always, it's great to be with you. The end of the tax year is almost upon us. In fact, it's on the 29th of February, and now is a good time to consider topping up your retirement fund savings, particularly if you have a retirement annuity. As we all know, government is incentivizing the idea of retirement fund savings. In this evening's show, we're going to discuss and have a look at the long-term benefits of why you should top up your retirement fund savings before the end of February. Should you wish to watch a replay of this show or any other shows, tune into the Oasis Crescent YouTube channel. Details of how to do it will be up on screen during the show. In this evening's show, we are joined by members of the Oasis Wealth Management team, Naweed Ashtiker and Ebrahim Rawoot. Gentlemen, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show.
Walaikum assalam, Shafiq.
Ebrahim, one of the big questions that we always ask is obviously the question of retirement fund savings, the long-term benefits, the short-term benefits, etc. This is a question that always comes up, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it certainly does, Shafiq, and I think the reason why this topic is so important is because there really is an important message within it. Now, according to the recent national survey, unfortunately, only 15% of household income is being directed towards some sort of retirement or savings product. Now, that is probably one of the lowest in the world, so we're not in a very good position. At the same time, if we look at the household debt levels in South Africa, it has significantly been on the increase, which means individuals that's earning income is now directing the income towards settling their debt as opposed to saving. So we can't really see that savings rate increasing. At the same time, the survey then focused on, that 41% of individuals that were saving last year are now saving less this year. And again, it's compounding the problem. Now, it's not only at a certain sector, because there's also the other side of the story. If we look at the higher income earners, and this is what the survey speaks about, as much as 20% of South Africans earning between 20 and 40,000 Rand a month is making no provision for their retirement. Now, that does become a problem because, while we're young, we can afford to work. We're not reliant on any support system. But there is going to come a point in time where we need to say, well, what we've worked for all our life now needs to start working for us. So retirement really is so important, and that is the message, and that's why this topic is always on everyone's tongue, and especially around this time when, the tax year is really dawning upon us. Then, lastly, the survey says that of all individuals in South Africa that's contributing to a retirement fund, only 6% is going to retire financially independent. Now, that's an alarming number, which means 94% of South Africans are going to have to do one of three things. They're going to have to rely on the state for support, and it's not a lot of money. They're going to have to rely on the family for financial support, or they're going to have to continue working post their retirement years. And I don't think that's really fair on anyone. So, yes, we need to start inculcating a form of savings in order to make sure we get the savings rate significantly on the increase.
Now, these are scary stats, but is there anything we can do about it?
Well, Shafiq, the simplest thing to improve the saving rate is to start saving more, but that's something that's probably easier said than done. Now, in previous shows, we've always highlighted the need for two things. One is to construct a household budget, and secondly, to be in touch with your financial advisor. Once you've got that budget, you can see where money's coming in, where money's going out, and what's available to you and where you can channel that. Your financial advisor will be able to sit with you, put a couple of numbers down, and make a couple of projections to see if you're going to be retiring with enough money or where you're falling short. Now, once you've got the figure that you would like to set away for retirement, you've typically got about three options. The first is if you are employed and you belong to your employer's retirement fund. This is typically called an occupational retirement fund. That's the first one. Secondly, you can contribute into a retirement annuity. Or thirdly, use a combination of both. So you'd have your employer's occupational retirement fund, and then you supplement this with contributions into a retirement annuity.
Ebrahim, if I can come back to you, there are lots of savings products on the market, but what is it that makes a retirement savings product so important?
Well, I think, Shafiq, retirement fund products are really disciplined products. But I don't think, it's just about that. It's about the fact that it's offering wonderful tax benefits pre-retirement as well as post-retirement. So, this is what we need to understand about the dynamics of retirement savings. Now, in the case of a retirement annuity, and Naweed mentioned it, is the fact that you're able to make certain contributions towards your retirement savings. And current legislation speaks about 15% of your non-retirement funding income. Now, what does it mean? You're getting an incentivization where the contributions that you make to a retirement annuity is now going to be claimed as a tax deduction. So government is saying to you, contribute to a retirement annuity, boost your retirement savings, and I will make sure there's an incentive for you at the end of every tax year. And, that's why we're scrapping around to try and make sure we get our numbers in order. But at the same time, it's now creating a position for yourself where you are going to be one of those fortunate individuals that will be able to retire comfortably. And if you start at a very young age and you compound those numbers over many, many, many years, there's going to be a substantial nest egg for yourself. Then there's one or two other benefits, and I just want to very quickly tell you about it. With a retirement annuity, it does protect you against certain creditors. So there's a very limited number of entities or institutions or people that can lay claim to your money. So it's protected. And then at the same time, if you look at the retirement age, which has been stipulated at 55, which is early retirement, you also have these unfortunate events where you do become disabled. So your fund rules, together with the consultation of the trustees, can make that provision for your retirement annuity to be brought forward. And if I really say, it's a type of disability insurance that's now coming into play.
Now, with the tax year end looming, 29th of February, we've actually got one extra day because it's a leap year this year, 29th of February. But Naweed, on a more serious note, go through some of the incentives that a person can actually get from topping up and indulging in retirement annuities.
Shafiq, when it comes to tax and SARS, many people only start thinking about it once SARS issues the e-filing deadlines. But what we should really be thinking about is, we are allowed certain allowable deductions from a tax point of view. So which ones can we use to benefit us and to optimize our tax incentives? And a retirement annuity is one of the best vehicles to actually obtain this tax deduction. Let's look at an example. Many South Africans don't fully utilize the deductions allowed on retirement funds. Ebrahim mentioned earlier the 15% on gross non-retirement funding income. So if your income is classified in that way, you can actually make a single contribution into a retirement annuity before the 29th of February. What is important to note is that this runs for every financial year. It's a use it or lose it. So if you don't do it this year and you want to do it next year, you can't claim a double deduction. People need to understand that. Furthermore, if this is the first time that you want to go into a retirement annuity, it allows you to make that single contribution before the 29th of February, like you mentioned. This is also good for your employer into an occupational retirement fund. They don't necessarily always allow single contributions, so that single contribution can actually be channeled into a retirement annuity, and you can then benefit from the tax incentive that comes with it. But also just remember that we've only got a month to go, so you need to do it before the 29th of February to take advantage of the benefit.
Okay, Ebrahim, let's get back to you. I should suppose then that if I keep on topping up my retirement annuity, that it's actually going to grow my prospects for retirement. In other words, my rocking chair is going to be that much more comfortable.
You so rightfully said, Shafiq, any such contributions that you make to your retirement fund savings is now being used to improve your nest egg come retirement. And I think the two words we really want to send out there is financial independence. Every one of us needs to strive for it. But then, at the same time, you always hear people saying, but, I've left my retirement for too late. It's never too late. So what you're allowed to do is make lump sum contributions to your retirement annuity in order to try and make up that days or years that you've missed out on, but also work within the tax regime to be able to get certain tax benefits. And you correctly said 29th of Feb, so we've been blessed with one extra day, but it doesn't mean we must take one day longer to conclude business. So yes, we need to try and sit with our accountants, sit with our financial advisors, sit with our tax practitioners, in order to calculate what the final numbers are that I can make in order to not only enjoy the benefits of retirement, but also to be able to reduce my taxable income. And I think that is the position that we as individuals need to take in order to make sure we become proactive.
Now, I think this is an important question. What happens if we have assets within our retirement fund savings? What happens to them?
Shafiq, with retirement annuities, you have the ability to make certain choices with regards to how your funds or your contributions are invested within the retirement annuity itself. Many providers out there also allow for investors to invest within their ethical or religious principles. So it's important to spend some time on the actual product provider and the investment manager. What we also need to understand with retirement annuities that these are long-term investments, and the longer your money is in the investment, it benefits from what is called compounded growth, and a lot of the return within the fund will be due to the compounding effect. It's also worthy to note, Shafiq, that retirement funds are invested according to prudential guidelines. This means that it's made up of a number of assets, and they could be equities, which is both domestic and offshore, properties and income assets. So this, furthermore, another desirable aspect is that it's a diversified product.
Ebrahim, let's go on to the issue of benefits, particularly in the realm of tax deductions. It looks as if the whole retirement annuity landscape has been designed around the fact that it wants to give benefits to the person who is investing in it, but how does it work?
Well, if you use a very simple example, take someone that earns 500,000 Rand of taxable income and is contributing, let's say, 2,000 Rand a month to a retirement annuity. So remember, the current legislation says that you can contribute 15% of your income towards a retirement annuity in order to gain the maximum tax benefit. So if you take 500,000 multiplied by 15%, it's 75,000. That is your limit that you can contribute to that RA in order to enjoy the maximum tax benefit. But now, because I was contributing 2,000 Rand a month, 12 payments, which is 24,000 Rand, I still have a shortfall of 51,000 Rand that I can make as a top-up to my existing retirement annuity. And this is what individuals need to be doing. They must be sitting with their accountants and their tax practitioners to say, well, what is the shortfall that I have to be able to maximize my contributions? And that's why you can't leave it for the 28th and the 29th of Feb and then still expect to make the contribution. Because if you make it the 1st of March, Shafiq, you lose it. It's a use it or lose it process. Mm-hmm. Now, what is that benefits to us as individuals? Because we're speaking numbers. Well, Shafiq, I did a few calculations and I said, well, let's take an example. You got 500,000 Rand. I'm making no contribution towards a retirement fund. The tax that I'm having to pay is 118,326 Rand. Now, if I only restricted myself to paying 2,000 Rand a month towards a retirement annuity, which is 24,000 for the year, my tax that I'm having to pay is now reduced to 109,686 Rand. So you see, there's a little bit of a benefit. But now, if I go and say to myself, well, let me maximize and take the full 15% advantage, my tax that I'm having to pay is now reduced to 91,326 Rand. It is 27,000 Rand. Who's going to give it to you? But what are you doing? You're putting away 75,000 Rand towards your investment, but it's really only costing you the difference of 75 less 27, because SARS is going to incentivize and provide you with that rebate. So, we have to look at all these equations. We have to look at all the numbers and say, cheapest, there is a lot of advantages on offer for me, but I need to make sure I take advantage of it come the 29th of Feb 2016. We will talk later on about the new rules, but for the time being, it's 15% of your non-retirement funding income, and that is the wonderful opportunity that government is instilling in all of us.
Naweed, if, for example, I take up the offer, I'm going to invest in a retirement annuity, are there any limits as to how much I can actually contribute?
Shafiq, there's no real limit as to how much you want to invest into a retirement annuity. You can invest as much as you want to. However, the tax relief or the tax deduction that you're going to get is capped at 15% of non-retirement funding.
So that is always fixed?
Well, it's fixed at this stage. Yeah. You must have heard of the new laws that are going to be become active or take effect on the 1st of March 2016, at which point these numbers would change. But we're still in this tax year, so
Right.
the 15% applies for up until the 29th of February. Now, let's look at this from an example point of view, Shafiq. Assuming you've got a gross non-retirement funding of 100,000 Rand, 15% of that would be 15,000 Rand. If you've put 20,000 Rand into the retirement annuity, you're only getting the benefit or the tax benefit of 15,000 Rand. So there's 5,000 Rand that you're not really getting the benefit for. So this 5,000 Rand could have been channeled into an alternative product, such as a tax-free investment account or a collective investment scheme. But at this point, you should obviously, again, contact your financial advisor and he'll give you the most appropriate advice for this solution.
Ebrahim, how does all of this relate to the proposed changes in legislation? Naweed has already alluded to it. How does all of this affect us? What's going to happen?
I think, it's wonderful times that we're in for. There's a lot of benefits on offer. And really, we need to unpack all those benefits, not just listen to the hype and the noise that's in the system.
Well, there's been a lot of political noise, hasn't there?
Well, there certainly has been, but let's look at the facts and let's look at the benefits there are. So the Taxation Laws Amendment Act of 2013 comes into play the 1st of March 2016. I think that's what we need to understand is the T-day or the starting day. So what it means is we're now in a position where we can contribute only 15% of our non-retirement funding income to a retirement annuity. Government is now increasing that to 27.5%. So look what government is doing. They're providing more incentives for us to contribute towards our retirement savings. However, there is now a capping amount. So that capping amount is now 350,000 Rand. So between 27.5% of your total income, you capped at 350,000. So what are we now in for? We have a position that we find ourselves in that people that were limited to 15%, they can now contribute another 12.5% towards the retirement savings. And really what it's going to do is going to take that savings rate that we currently face with, which is so low, it should over the years start significantly increasing that. There's a lot of tax deductions on offer, and if we don't grab it, Shafiq, we're really going to be losing out at the end of the day. Then there's a few other changes that have come, and I'm only highlighting a few of the important ones, and that is regarding the treatment of provident funds. So any member of a pension fund, which is your occupational pension fund or a retirement annuity, they're not impacted. But for individuals that belong to a provident fund that are under the age of 55, so under the age of retirement, all new contributions they make post 1 March 2016 into a savings product or a provident fund is now going to be restricted to the 1/3, 2/3 rule. So what is the commentary out there? They don't want to give my money. It's not about not giving your money. It's about ensuring that you have this annuity or pension that you're going to be earning in your retirement years. So we don't have to rely on the state. We don't have to rely on the family for support. We have our own nest egg that we've been working so hard for. It's now going to start working for us. And it's a wonderful position that we find ourselves in. For those members of provident funds over the age of 55, they again are also not impacted. So I think government really thought this whole process through. They tried to understand where are the shortfalls, where do we need to improve benefits. So, really what we're in for is a wonderful time. But that is 1st of March 2016. Let's focus on this current tax year. We've been blessed with an extra day. So it's really there to make sure we take advantage of the opportunities that we have. And really, going through the numbers, it just makes so financial sense.
Naweed, in essence then, let's have a look. How would you summarize what is the message of this evening's show in terms of retirement annuities?
Shafiq, firstly, I think, and quite importantly, is that only 6% of South Africans are going to be able to retire financially independent. That is quite alarming. So I think for many people out there, it's actually to take stock of where they are. Where are we in our retirement planning? What do we have? What do we need to do to be able to retire comfortably? Because once you get to that age, you actually want to be able to enjoy your retirement. You've worked hard for 30, 40 years, and it's come to that where you can now sit back and actually enjoy the fruits of all of those years. So the next thing, or the next point is have we taken advantage of the tax benefits that is out there and that is allowable for us to take advantage of. Again, the retirement annuity. Have we topped up our retirement annuities? If not, and you can, please do so, because it's going to benefit you not only now but in the long run as well when you do get to retirement age. The third thing is, like we've said, there's an extra day. But if we don't make the contribution by the 29th of February, it's going to form part of next year's allowance. So you're going to lose that out. So please don't wait too long.
You have been watching the Oasis Focus and Finance show. We've been talking about topping up retirement annuities before the end of February, which is the 29th. Naweed, Ashtiker and Ebrahim Rawoot, thanks for chatting to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shafiq.
And a special thanks again to our studio guests for this evening's show, Naweed Ashtiker and Ebrahim Rawoot. We were talking about topping up your retirement fund savings, particularly retirement annuities, before the end of February, and that is the 29th. Don't forget that the legislation will be changing as from the 1st of March, but don't worry. On this particular show, we will be putting on air experts from within the Oasis Group who will inform you exactly what it means, the benefits, specifically the tax benefits accruing from the alterations that are going to be made to tax legislation regarding retirement funds. So don't worry about that. On the show, during the month of February, our experts will be on air and they will tell you exactly what it all means. Should you wish to watch any rebroadcasts of any of our shows, tune into the Oasis Crescent YouTube channel. Details have been on screen during the show. Should you wish to contact any financial advisors at Oasis, particularly about retirement annuities, 0860 100 786 or email info@oasiscrescent.com. Until next time, I'm Shafiq Morton. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.